So how do you think about content at GE? Where does that come from as you think about it?
Well, you know, we were producing a lot of content going back a few years, Roger, but we decided to take a look at it through sort of the cultural prism of the company and who we are, corporate character out of the model. And we really got back to sort of the Edisonian sort of mantra of we figure out what the world needs and we proceed to invent it. And that's been really sort of galvanizing for us around our content. And it really describes our culture very well. Our people are in healthcare, they're in energy, they're transportation, aviation. They have an avocation for these things and working on big problems. So we have great stories. And so this editorial sort of prism, as I described, ties back to all the content. If it doesn't tie back to the culture and the corporate character, what differentiates us from other companies, we believe, then we don't do it. You know, there's a lot of stories you can tell just because it makes you feel good, but if it's not strategic, if it's not tied into things like the industrial internet, which is a big push for us right now, healthcare policy, those kinds of things, we just don't do it. And that's sort of liberating because it gives us a real focus that we didn't have before.
That galvanizing word you just used is interesting. To what extent is this really energizing your people around being part of GE?
Well, you know, it's really interesting, Roger, because they're the stars of all this. If you look at our content, it's the engineers, it's the technologists, it's the scientists, and that cultural description of ourselves came from them. It was the result of about a year of talking to people and saying, what motivates you? Why do you work here? And really, what gets you started in the morning? We were a company that largely was motivated by numbers, quarter to quarter, year to year. Even some of our visions and some of our businesses were about the amount of revenue we hoped to achieve that year. And we've changed all that through this process. It's about sort of being in the front seat of history and working on some tough problems. And that has been so liberating and mobilizing for our people, and it makes them want to participate in the content that we're creating.